Today on 2+U Nevada.
And for Nevada Women's Fund, we also talk about the solidarity of bringing people together, women and men coming together to get that fresh air, the exercise, and with the idea in mind that we're creating awareness around Women's History Month.
Looking for fun things to do outside in this beautiful weather? Come celebrate women. We continue our highlighting Women's History Month events with the Nevada Women's Fund. And this one, you'll get your steps in.
The key here is that there's strength in numbers. So the more families that sign the pledge, the less pressure there'll be on all kids to have a smartphone in elementary or middle school.
There's an event tonight highlighting the dangers of exposing our children to social media too young. We sit down with Wait Until 8 Reno Sparks to learn more about the movement to protect our kids. Plus,
I tell my clients that I have to be done by 3 in order for me to go pick up my kids. They always are very supportive because they themselves are mothers.
We know doing it all is tough, but these moms make it look easy. Meet some Nevada-made Momtrepreneurs. You're watching 2+U Nevada. It's home.
Put everything back in your house the way you like it.
With community and family. And this really is a family affair. It's local food.
I got garlic in mine, capers.
It's health and wellness. Plus,
but we don't have these, and we could be using them.
With plenty of entertainment. 2+U Nevada, brought to you by 911 Restoration. Thank you for joining us for this edition of 2+U Nevada. I'm Sarah Johns, your host. Hope you had the best weekend. The kids and I went over the hill to hang out with my parents for a couple days, and boy, do we have fun. My dad took the kids to McDonald's, and that's all they've been talking about since. And my mom and I had a girls' day in Grass Valley. It was so fun because I ran into some viewers. Hi, thanks for watching. But I also ran into an old friend from high school. We haven't seen each other since 1996. Yes, do the math. That's when I graduated. And she looked no different. Isn't that crazy? Because we can put our own pictures side by side and see every earned wrinkle. But when it comes right down to it, our peers don't see age at all. So you walk around with that thought today. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for joining us today for 2+U Nevada. You're watching 2+U Nevada, and we are continuing our amazing segments with Isla Friedenthal of the Nevada Women's Fund, talking about, what is this month again?
Women's History Month.
Women's History Month. And Jamie Ubaldi, thank you so much for joining us. This weekend, we have a fun event to talk about, and that's getting outside and getting involved. So what are we talking?
So on March 21st, we're hosting the Inspire Progress Walk. It's a partnership with the City of Sparks, a Northern Nevada Health System where I work, and the Nevada Women's Fund. And we're so excited to have this opportunity to bring together a lot of folks. And the great news is that Girls on the Run of the Sierras is our big kind of host this year. And the girls are so excited to have this opportunity to bring community together, to do something healthy in the morning and have a lot of fun.
And it's so cool that both of the Nevada Women's Fund and Girls on the Run Sierras, that they're coming together along with you, Jamie, because what I love about this, Isla, is yes, this is Women's History Month, but we're also talking about our future women with our Girls on the Run.
Yeah, as you know, we've been hosting events all month long with different organizations. And what I've found is that each event has been very, not specific, but it's touched a different demographic, whether it's an age demographic or an ethnic community. We've really had an opportunity to engage our entire community in these different events. So this event with Northern Nevada Health System and the City of Sparks, we get to talk about the importance of women's health. And that starts when you're young.
Yep.
And you learn the lessons. We want to show children early on that we need to get outside, we need fresh air, we need exercise. I know that's important to Northern Nevada Health Systems and to Girls on the Run. And for Nevada Women's Fund, we also talk about the solidarity of bringing people together, women and men coming together to get that fresh air, the exercise, and with the idea in mind that we're creating awareness around Women's History Month and having time as you walk around the marina or run around the marina to have conversations about the women in our lives, celebrating women in our community and in our lives.
Absolutely. And then Jamie, you're also, when we are talking about this being a whole event, you're also going to have professionals out there talking women's health.
We are. So our outpatient physical therapist will be there to help kind of kick off the walk, lead a stretch, and talk to you about the importance of keeping your body moving and what that looks like as you're young and as you age. And so it's important to come and connect with us, talk to us about your health and well-being, and we'll give you some great advice.
You know, it's so important too that women get out and enjoy, keep moving, as you said. But I love the fact that women will be able to have that touch point into the health system, because really and truly, women, we do it all, right? And we kind of put our health on the back burner and we ignore certain signs. And so this allows women to get out and talk to professionals and then really have that touch point to be able to seek professional services at a later date.
Absolutely. You know, this is kind of a small step in someone's health journey, and just getting outside is great for you mentally, socially, and you can come out and start that small exercise that morning with us and take those baby steps to your health journey. So talk to our staff, connect with other women in your community, and use this as an opportunity to try something different.
You know, it's really important too. Sedentary lifestyles really lead to health problems, right? And so just getting outside, breathing that fresh air, it's important.
Absolutely. So important. And it's going to be a beautiful day on March 21st. We're excited to walk the marina. Come walk once, twice, 3 times, you know, get out there and have some fun.
And again, this is just one of a bunch of events that the Nevada Women's Fund is involved in during the month of March. And Isla, you've already had a few of these events. How's it going?
Well, we're a little exhausted, but we're having a blast. It really has been an incredible opportunity just to engage with so many people who knew about or know about Nevada Women's Fund, and people who are being introduced to Nevada Women's Fund.
And for folks at home, I mean, we've had you on many times, but for folks at home who are unaware of Nevada Women's Fund, talk about your work in uplifting women.
Yeah, so Nevada Women's Fund was founded in 1982 with the mission of empowering women to achievement. And if we think about the early 80s, women weren't in the workspace as they are now. There weren't 2-income households. And so when the founders got together, they said, how can we have the greatest impact on women in our community? And they believed that was through education. So they pulled their money. In 1983, they awarded 2 $500 scholarships. I'm so proud to say that 42 years later, we've awarded $11 million to women living and educating in northern and rural Nevada. And this year alone, we'll award at least $600,000. And while education and academic scholarships are really at the core of what we do, we're also, in part of Women's History Month, creating awareness around professional development, career advancement, supporting women all the way through their lifespan, and advocating for opportunities so they have no barriers to achievement.
I love this so much. You have no idea how heartwarming it is to hear this. And again, you're also teaching our future women with an event like this and getting the young women involved as well. Jamie, why are you involved in uplifting women with Nevada Women's Fund?
Absolutely. So I'm a former board member of the fund. I love supporting women and children's initiatives and working for Northern Nevada Health System. We are focused on health and development of our youth, of our families. And it's so important that we look at that from many angles. And so I'm very excited to be part of this opportunity.
And again, this event is this weekend. So give us the date, the time, where to go, and it's free.
It's free. So March 21st, 10 a.m. at the Sparks Marina. We do ask that you go to the Nevada Women's Fund website, nevadawomensfund.org, just to register. We want to make sure that we have everything for everybody. So we want to know if we're going to have 1,000 people or 5,000 people. So register. We can't wait to see everybody at 10 o'clock on March 21st.
Let's have 5,000 or more.
It sounds so fun.
That sounds great.
Yes, it really does.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. You're watching 2 Plus U Nevada. You are watching 2+ Nevada. Joining us this afternoon, Chris Poland of 911 Restoration. Chris, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed the last few segments that we have done with you because we're seeing some of your work like before and after, and it's super cool. But you just mentioned something that I have never heard of. A steamy crawl space.
Yes, those could potentially be really bad jobs. It's kind of really hard to notice. Most people don't crawl around their crawl space every day.
I do everything I can to avoid it because I hear there are spiders down there.
Absolutely. So what that typically is there's a pinhole leak in your crawl space. There's a couple pipes out there, manufacturers that they had some defects, and there's some lawsuits going against them, but a lot of them have ran out of money, and it creates your pipe, and it creates a slow leak. Some of them have multiple leaks. Some of them have, one leak, but it's kind of like a pinhole leak, and it spits out hot water steam to where your hot water heater can keep up, so you don't notice you're running out of hot water. And it's literally just a light spray in your crawl space, which eventually turns your crawl space into a sauna. So now you have a really hot, steamy crawl space, and you still don't know that's going on because it's in your crawl space.
This is terrifying. Like hearing this, and then you said in 1 week something can happen.
You leave town for a week, you're not quite, on it or noticing the temperature differences. Then you can, in the worst case scenarios, you come back and now it penetrated into your house, the leak got bigger, your hot water's keeping up, and your whole entire house has now turned into a sauna for an extended period of time because you weren't home. And those situations could turn out to be very bad to where we'll strip your whole house down just to the studs. That way we can get that taken care of. But a lot of the times, the first signs that you would like to keep an eye out for if you do have a steamy crawl space is you're going to want to, if there's a temperature change, all of a sudden you may notice your windows fogging up on the inside, and it just feels a little more sticky inside, or you might see some floors buckling. Then that's probably a good time.
So those are the two main signs.
Those are some signs. Obviously, the temperature feels one, your windows are fogging, and it just feels real humid, or your floors start buckling or something. You're going to want to pop that hatch in the crawl space and take a look at there, because a lot of times you might have what we call a steamy crawl space.
And so then you go in, and it's really cool because in this photo, you show us, this is kind of an after of that particular project where you have put, what is that, a vapor barrier? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, we put down like a 6 to 10 mil vapor barrier. This is just kind of a common practice, which I recommend everybody making sure that they have, especially in this climate, Reno, Lake Tahoe, a nice sealed vapor barrier, not just plastic laying down. What we're trying to do is protect your residents from your crawl space having elevated humidity and causing condensation inside your crawl space, which then could have microbial growth and stuff. And so we fully seal the vapor barrier. We lay it down. We tape around all of the piers, around all of the stem wall. We want to make sure we go up your stem wall past the cold break. What we consider the cold break is where your dirt is on the outside of your house. And so your crawl space is down here, but the dirt is right here on the outside. So we want to make sure we bring that plastic up over where the dirt is on the outside of the crawl space. So moisture or water comes in, it goes underneath the plastic versus over the top to really protect your crawl space and make your house healthier and cleaner. And so we definitely recommend everybody
have that vapor barrier. It's interesting because you told me that vapor barriers are now code, but we live in a 1970s home. I'm not sure because I avoid the crawl space, but I don't think we have one of these. So is that something that people need to check for?
I definitely recommend it. What's nice is some of these older homes, they breathe so well anyway. So it's like some of these homes, like for example, in Old Southwest, they may not have them and they're like in their basement and stuff, but those houses breathe so well back in the day. Now the houses are made so well that they're sealed up. So moisture starts to come in underneath your crawl space. And not only that, the elevated moisture in there also travels through your house to your attic. And you can also now have a problem in your attic that needs to be cleaned as well. They could be very, very pricey. So if you had to do a full attic clean and a full mold crawl space clean, you were anywhere from 20 to 40,000. I wouldn't be surprised. So to protect your house with the vapor barrier is
especially with the newer homes because they are so airtight.
Yeah.
You know, have you seen, there is this viral trend right now on social media called house burping. Have you heard of that? Where it's apparently some Danish thing, and they recommend that you open your window, even in the winter, 10 minutes a day, every day, just to kind of like clear the air.
No, but that's a great idea. I do that personally at my house just to kind of clean out the freshness, and it feels good to have fresh air. But no, that's a great idea. You definitely want to burp your house. we that's a familiar term with us because we burp houses during water damage.
Oh, you do?
Yep,
That's a familiar term?
Yep, we burp houses, open up all the windows during the water damage because inside might be, for example, 70% humidity, but outside's 20%. So we're going to burp the house. We're going to bring in all that dry air from outside because that's the quickest way to dry it.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We hope that you don't need 911 restoration, but it should be your first call. Where do people go if they need your help?
Please jump on your phone online to Google 911 Restoration Reno. We'll pull up. If you pull up just restoration, we'll pull up, and we have the highest reviews in town, and we're very proud of it. And hopefully you never need to call us, but if you do, we'll definitely be ready.
Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
You're watching 2+U Nevada. You are watching 2+U Nevada. Joining us again this afternoon, Brandy Vesco with Wait Until 8th and your co-founder, Larissa. You guys, thank you both so much for joining us again. This is something that I am fully behind. The Wait Until 8th movement, Brandy, you brought to our community. It's a grassroots effort that's happening nationwide. Tell folks about it.
Yes, so Wait Until 8th is a free online pledge parents can take to say not yet to the smartphone together until at least the end of 8th grade. It's for smartphones only, so you can still give your kid a basic phone or smartwatch with limited features. The key here is that there's strength in numbers. So the more families that sign the pledge, the less pressure there'll be on all kids to have a smartphone in elementary or middle school just to fit in.
Absolutely. I mean, and we've had this conversation. I did a mom flex here a few months ago, and I texted all of my kids' friends' parents saying, hey, we're doing landlines right now. And we gave them the landline number. And that was just because I say that the smartphone is kind of like the gateway drug into the apps that we don't want our kids to have access to for their mental health right now.
Exactly.
How did you learn about Wait Until 8th?
Well, for starters, it's in chapter 9 of Jonathan Haidt's best-selling book, The Anxious Generation. He mentions Wait Until 8th as a great collective action step parents can take. Because the pledge only kicks in once at least 10 families from the same grade in school sign. So you can kind of rest assured that your kid won't be the only one without a smartphone. So I'd read about it there, and then as a former education reporter, I had seen a lot about youth mental health and smartphones and this movement of Wait Until 8th.
I'm so glad as a parent that the pendulum seems to be swinging back in access, like technology access, and just monitoring that access for kids, because you were saying that you really wanted to implement this once your young child came home and said, hey, my friend has a phone.
Yeah, my 8-year-old, I mean, she's in 3rd grade and half her friends already have smartphones. So people might think this seems early, but it's not. We know 1st graders and 2nd graders, and I mean, that pressure really ramps up once 4th and 5th grade hit.
Absolutely, the peer pressure is there. So if we as parents collectively say, hey, we're not going to, so this is something that you're trying to get into local schools and get that information into local schools. Larissa, we're going to be having an event at Collin Ranch Elementary coming up. What is the point of getting the information into local schools?
Well, digital technology over the past 3 decades has just exploded, and there's information everywhere. And people are really taking advantage of the communication platforms. And we really want to just bring an awareness to the risks that are out there. There's a lot of risks for kids, especially under the age of 14. It's a really critical time for brain development right now. And so we want parents to be aware of these risks, and we want people to come out and watch the documentary so they can learn about the risks as well.
And you mentioned the documentary. So this event that we're having at Collin Ranch, what day is that, March?
It's Monday, March 16th.
And then there's another event coming up in Sparks for all families. So anyone who's interested in learning about this, that's going to be what day?
That'll be Tuesday, April 14th in Sparks. That's open to all the Washoe County parents.
And so at these events, there's going to be a screening of what film?
So it's going to be of Childhood 2.0, and it's a documentary, and you'll hear firsthand accounts from real teenagers who are living using these social media devices and platforms and the risks that they have encountered on a daily basis.
And I know you're not here representing any school or the school district, but I'd be remiss because you are here in Scrubs. You are a person who has day-to-day interaction with our youth. And what are you seeing?
So for me, I work at a middle school, and I have kids coming in daily and they're exhausted. I mean, middle school already starts at a really early time. And so if you're up till 10, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning on your cell phone, you're just tired the next day. And so we have lots of kids who are coming in the office that are just tired. And anxiety is another thing that we're constantly seeing. We didn't have this as kids, but kids are recording each other on their cell phones, and so nothing is private anymore. And so it causes a lot of anxiety for kids.
Absolutely. The unknown of, are the words that I'm saying being recorded without my knowledge? I mean, we as adults can kind of grasp that's something that we might face, and there are work policies against that and public policy against that, but kids, they're having to navigate that, Brandy.
Yes, and that's where a lot of the bullying can come in, or just something silly that happened, instead of it being something you kind of forget about in a few days, it can go viral now and it's out there forever if it was recorded. And just their bullies now have 24/7 access to them and many more ways in which to bully them. And even beyond all that, these are just addictive interfaces that are consuming our children's time. And what's happening is that they're crowding out these sort of developmentally critical experiences. So while they're stuck on their phone, they're not out watching facial expressions, having adventures with their friends, gaining independence and confidence in the real world.
Absolutely. So again, there are 2 events coming up. There's one specific to Collin Ranch Elementary School in March, and then there's one open to all families in Washoe County that's in Sparks in April. You can find information on Wait Until 8th. Brandy, what can people expect at these events, and what will people be learning?
Right, so children aren't experiencing tech the same way we are, so we need to make an effort to understand that world in order to support our kids and keep our kids safe. Because this film is full of real candid interviews with kids, it's a fast way to learn about what's actually going on. So we're learning about those addictive interfaces, the 24/7 bullying, the fact that porn is extreme and easily accessible, that kids are sending nude photographs of themselves, and that men are trying to talk to children of all ages all day and night. So we're going to learn all about what's actually happening behind the scenes with kids and tech, and then we'll be able to sort of unpack that and discuss that together as parents. It's a really challenging topic, so I think that community support is required there.
100%. Where do people go to find out more information?
So you can go to Wait Until 8th Reno Sparks on Instagram, or you could email us at waituntil8threnosparks@gmail.com.
I can't thank you both enough for bringing this to our community, for really being there to protect our kids and starting this movement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're watching 2+ U Nevada.
At a time when many Americans feel divided, we turn to kids to bridge that divide by asking 6th graders at Langston Hughes Middle School in Reston, Virginia, what they believe makes America beautiful. Backed by the Annandale High School Band and Chorus, here are their words.
America the Beautiful, from the billowing flag and the bright blue sea to the kindergarten teacher who taught me to read. The loving hands who hold ours tight, or the parents who work tirelessly in the dead of night.
It's the sunrise that paints the sky with colors you can't name, the rhythm of music that makes your heart skip, the kindness of a stranger that lifts your spirit.
Fireworks celebrating us, hot dogs and s'mores galore. Every year we cherish our beginnings, 250 years since we won that war.
But home is where the heart is, and the souls of all our friends, all beautifully different, diversity to no end. No life too small, no life too great, a place of love, not of hate.
America holds an unlimited amount of opportunities for all sorts of people. The timid, the outgoing, and of course the shy. All people can have an opportunity in America if they really want it.
What makes America beautiful isn't the golden sand beaches or the snow-covered mountains. It's the freedom that America guarantees. America is the only country where you can get a job and have support no matter your background.
My life as a middle schooler is great because of the people that help me learn new things on a daily basis.
America is beautiful because of the people, the different cultures that make up our way of life, the hundreds of languages people speak across the nation, the different foods from all over the world, all brought to one place for everyone to enjoy. Beauty is found in the dreams we create along the way, the freedom to be whoever we want, the hopes we set for our future.
We have the most beautiful country, full of diverse cultures that sets us apart from other countries. Instead of not accepting it, we embrace it and make it a part of our own culture. And that's why America is beautiful.
Beauty is found in the flowers that bloom in the spring and the leaves that dance in the wind during fall. Beauty is in the diversity we see everywhere we go. Beauty is in the friends we make throughout the journey we call life. It is in the hopes and dreams everyone holds in their hearts. Beauty is in everything and everyone.
You're not perfect. None of us are, because we're all human, and that's what makes America so beautiful. We find beauty in imperfections.
Overall, America, through its highs and its lows, has persevered, and I'm proud to be an American.
This land of the free, a place for me, a place for you and everyone in between.
Oh, say, can you see?
All the endless opportunities, the land of the beautiful, the land of the free. The hearts who reach out with a shoulder to cry on, a special person to always rely on. I love the love that runs through the veins of this beautiful country, the USA.
Meanwhile, some older students are truly designing something beautiful. Fashion students at Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, recently took on a special project. The goal? To come up with adaptive designs for clothes for those with disabilities. Take a look at how the class project turned out from those involved.
Oh, look at you. Working in the fashion industry, you're always trying to find how to make it personal and meaningful. And so doing this project really kind of changed the way I view what I do every day. So I made this dress here for Eliza to consider not only her limb difference, but also that had some sustainability in mind and could be passed on. So both sleeves are made to be adjustable to accommodate Eliza's limb difference.
In our diversity and design class at Thomas Jefferson University, each student was paired up with a client to design adaptive wear, solving for challenges when it comes to fashion and dressing due to disability, whether it's physical, sensory, age-related, health-related, and they made everything from scratch.
Do we like it?
Does it look good?
This is a class that's been going on for a few years, but this is the first year that we've had an exhibit to celebrate the work. It was such a special, special experience, so thank you.
For my design, I decided to make a sensory hoodie. So it features these hidden pockets that can store little fidgets. So you can have like a little squishy toy that you can put in your hands and then feel it.
I use fidgets because sometimes I just get anxious in general. I think they did a really good job putting my style into clothes. Stuff that I love, like cats, for example, and science.
My favorite is the one that's trying to escape the beaker.
When we were talking with Amelia and learning about what her sensory needs were, we found that her and I actually share a lot of same sensory needs. And then we also have tons of fun little pockets and different little loops to hang things off of on the interior.
My favorite things are their attention to textures. This is going to really help make him calmer. Nephew. I am Megan Palmer, and I am Torsten's mom. Give me a high five. For children with autism, especially to the degree that he has, everything is uncomfortable. And that's why we've loved being a part of this program. And have something in the fidget, he can kind of fidget along here. I was a fashion designer, and I stopped when I got pregnant. I enjoyed this process so much that I will actually be teaching this course next semester, which I'm extremely excited about.
He has an interest in kind of optical illusions. So that was the inspiration for this grid pattern.
They are built with interior handles so that you can pull them up super quickly.
The clothes will be on display for the next couple of months in Hayward Hall on our East Falls campus at Jefferson. And then at the end of the exhibit, the clients will be able to take them home.
We'll be right back. We continue our highlighting of amazing women during this Women's History Month by talking about the moms who juggle it all and make it look easy. Victoria Saha introduces us to some strong Nevada-based momtrepreneurs.
Jasmine Patel didn't set out to build a beauty empire. She just needed to get out of the house.
Me and my husband, we were together 24/7 at 7-Eleven. We were staying home together, driving in the same car. So one day, very kindly, he tells me, you know, Jasmine, I think you need to do something else.
And something else turned into something big. Jasmine opened Divine Threading in Centennial Hills in 2014.
How soon did you see a rapid response from the community wondering what eyebrow threading is?
One of the best thing happened was one of the celebrity from Vegas started coming to us, and I had no idea who he was.
That celebrity was none other than DJ Pauly D. Jasmine now has 4 locations across the valley, but no matter how many clients are on the books, she never misses pickup.
I tell my clients that I have to be done by 3 in order for me to go pick up my kids. They always are very supportive because they themselves are mothers.
Next, I'll introduce you to another momtrepreneur. Libby Buell also had a passion for the beauty industry, but she put down the makeup to pick up a lead rope. Libby Buell spent years in the luxury cosmetics industry, but her heart was always in the arena.
You know, my passion's always been horses. I was raised with horses, fell into the luxury cosmetic industry.
Juggling top brands and bedtimes wasn't easy, but Libby made it work.
It's a lot of flexibility, being able to communicate clearly with your spouse and your children, being very organized in terms of scheduling.
Libby is now the owner of Raw Horsepower, an organization offering equine assisted learning. And with 4 kids, including 1 in the military, plus 2 she still homeschools, and a new grandbaby, she is just getting started.
You have to kind of reach each child and meet them where they're at, figure out a good work-life balance, and I've been able to do that.
Whether they're shaping brows or helping someone find their footing, these momtrepreneurs are proof that in Vegas, the biggest bets pay off at home. Victoria Saha, Fox 5 News, Local, Las Vegas.
In Chesterfield County, Virginia, there's a micro-influencer gaining a fan base on social media with his antics. He's not a wild child, rather, he's a wild turkey. Taylor Locke shows us there's nothing foul about going viral.
If you're driving on Charter Colony Parkway near Old 100 Road and traffic slows down, if it's not the light, then it's Chesterfield County's most famous turkey, Gary.
Gary basically owns our intersection. We just live in his neighborhood.
Gary has been gobbling up attention all across town. Sometimes he's seen dancing through traffic.
You better get out the way. Because Gary is very aggressive over here. When he wants to get across the highway, he's going to.
I saw him walking down the middle of the road and everyone just stopped for him and he created a ton of traffic.
Or even going after cars like he owns the place.
likes to play, I guess, turkey in front of cars instead of playing chicken.
He's also known to strut his stuff on the side of the road. So this morning he was right in front of Sugar Shack. I'm not sure if he's going to get Sugar Shack donuts or if he was heading to the Flying Pig. And fans can't get enough of it. I came across a page dedicated to Gary and his daily adventures on social media. Rebecca Garber started it a few months ago.
What better way to bring a community together than this funny little turkey?
Since then, Gary's fan club has really taken flight. The page has gained thousands of followers, some even from across the pond, all the way in Denmark.
It's neat to see people outside of Midlothian that love this turkey. We've seen stories of him bringing joy to a patient that's going to get treatment at the hospital.
Businesses nearby say Gary's internet fame has even brought a few extra customers through their doors.
Especially lately, I feel like the posts have been getting more like views and stuff, and I've been having a lot of more people like ask about it.
And if you swing by to see him for yourself and you think you missed him, maybe just look up.
Gary, that is not where you're supposed to be, sir.
I mean, the first time he was on the light post was pretty amazing. A couple people said, I didn't know turkeys could fly.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. As we all gear up for a couple weeks of madness, we have the story of a small-town sports fan, a super fan, actually, who has become much more than just a face in the crowd. Steve Hartman introduces us to Dave. Now, a different Dave, David Begnaud, introduces us to another amazing man, Richard. He gained attention online after doing something unsuspecting, and honestly, he was just working really hard, which led to a good deed that started in Tennessee and has spread across the country.
A Ring camera in Manchester, Tennessee captured the delivery. An older man slowly climbing the steps. His name is Richard, and Brittany Smith, the homeowner, saw the video and decided she wanted to find him.
He should be at home just chilling, exercising a couple times a day to to keep his mobility, but working, no. I don't know, we need to help him.
Brittany almost never checks her Ring camera, but on that day, her ex-husband, who is a quadriplegic, had sent their daughter a Starbucks treat. When Brittany watched the 78-year-old man make the delivery, she couldn't shake what she saw.
I was furious. I was like, I know this poor old man is not bringing my very able daughter Starbucks. Like, what?
She sent the video to her ex, and they had the same thought. We need to find him. So Brittany posted the video online, and someone recognized him and gave her Richard's last name. So she drove around looking for the car that was in the video, and she found it. Richard lives just 5 minutes away, so she knocked on his door and handed him a $200 tip.
I needed to supplement our income, so I started working for Doordash, and it allowed us to pay our bills.
Richard sold insurance and retired 13 years ago. But after his wife Brenda lost her job, he went back to work, delivering food, sometimes 12 hours a day.
With just one income in the family, you have to push.
1, 2.
At first, Brittany thought the tip was going to be enough, but people online had another idea.
Hundreds and thousands of messages begging me to start a GoFundMe for him, so I did.
She called it Give Richard a Chance to Rest Again, and boy did people show up. In 5 days, around $1 million was raised for Richard and Brenda, who have been married nearly 56 years.
It's just really difficult to believe that there's that many people that are that generous to try to help us, people that don't even know us.
Oh, and if you're wondering what Richard might do next, he says he wants to continue delivering, just not as hard and not as often as he used to. But he says working, it makes him feel better.
It's important to do the best you can and help people. If you help people and do right, you'll succeed.
You're a very knowledgeable man, Richard.
It took just one person to notice, and a lot of people showed up.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. Are you a business or nonprofit and want to be featured on 2+ Nevada? Have a Mom to Mom Monday, a Tried It Tuesday, or even a cute pic you just want to show us? The whole point of 2+ Nevada is the plus you. You can send us your content by visiting our website. Head to 2news.com and click on 2+ Nevada. Or you can email us at 2plusnevada@ktvn.com. That's it for this edition of 2+ Nevada. Thank you for inviting us into your home this afternoon. We look forward to joining you every weekday at 3 for 2+ Nevada. 2 News Nevada at 4 starts now.